Okay, good morning. So keeping in the theme of how the arms work, how they work into impact, and why it's so important that this left shoulder is able to stay down and hold us in the shot, this right pec, this right shoulder is able to cover and move into impact with strength so that the club can be down and the arms can extend through, and so that the body and the arms can all move together through the strike. I want to talk about the text last night. So essentially, the reasons why the arms have to feel like they're moving aggressively into impact is, if you think about where my right elbow is, okay, from let's say setup. So where my right elbow is right now. As I draw this up to the top, I'm turning, I'm staying centered, I'm loading up to the top, but then something happens in transition to where I move or I shift my weight. So we know I'm shifting my weight to the bottom of the arc. But think about where my right elbow was here. Now, this is at setup. Now think about where my body is going to be at impact. If I keep my arm where it was at setup, it's got further to travel to get to where I wanted at impact. So that's why the arms essentially are going to feel like, from about waist high, this elbow starts folding as I turn, then I shift my weight. Well, if this came back to where it just was, it'd be too far behind me. I need this right elbow to fire, or this right arm to fire in front of the pec. So it's catching up. The arms have to do more in a good golf swing with a proper surf than they would just if I was staying in one spot. And so regarding the text last night, when you look at moving the arms into impact, the first reason both arms are coming in like this is because the body, as soon as I get to about the bottom of the arc, my body is going to start to ascend up. So the body's working up in this direction. And so to counterbalance the fact that the body's moving up from essentially the bottom of the arc to the finish of the golf swing, to counterbalance the fact that my body's going up, I have to fire or push my arms down, or that's where I'm straightening this right elbow coming into impact, so that the arms can hold me down in the shot for just that split second longer, and then everything accelerates up. What happens is, if the arms don't fire when I shift my weight, I can never get them back in front of me at impact, and I'm never able to keep the glutes back because I'm pushing the arms down. If the glutes start to come up and forward, it'll cause the arms to kind of come up with it, okay? So that's where the idea of, if I'm gonna break bricks, I'm pushing the arms down while I'm simultaneously thrusting the body up. So that's what's happening to deliver true compression. So that's the first reason. Now, the second thing is, I've got to get, if I want to get the counterbalance right, moving into impact, I've got to get this golf club back to center. And so the only way for me to have my glutes stay back is to have my arms fire down. The only way to have my arms fire down properly is to have my glutes stay back properly. So they're both sort of creating each other. And so what we looked at was, coming into impact, this right arm, this right wrist, as I take the club back, is loading up to throw a football. So this elbow is going to bend to 90 degrees at the top, and this wrist is going to bend slightly because it's supporting the weight of the club up here. It's supporting the object that I'm going to throw into impact with this back arm. So this right arm, this right wrist, gets loaded, then I shift my weight, then this right elbow starts to unload. So this right elbow is going to start to straighten. But I'm not saying I dumped my wrist angles just yet, because my wrist angles are still going to stay in there. So watch my right elbow. So the right elbow's at 90. I shift my weight. Now I start to uncock this right elbow. And you see that that keeps this right shoulder higher, so I don't get this way. And so we talked about the left shoulder loading down, but it's just as important to have the right shoulder stay high so that this can come back and compress it properly. So I've got the right shoulder loaded, like I'm gonna throw a football. Then this right elbow starts to straighten, but notice I haven't dumped my wrist angles yet, because the right elbow is straightening, keeps the right shoulder high. Then at the bottom, when I get this club to parallel, that's where the wrists start to uncock. So what I'm doing is I'm loading the right wrist, loading the right elbow, unloading the right elbow, unloading the right wrist. So it's going like this into impact. So this is what the pole vault was, right? So I'm coming into here, then I fire the right wrist, it makes the butt of the club come in, club head kick out. So right elbow straightens, right wrist straightens, keeps the right side high, also keeps the left side down. But that's what gets the club in front of me, so I'm able to keep my glutes back through the strike before I ascend up. So we've got essentially the arms firing in front because the body's about to thrust up, and then we've also got the arms firing in front so that the glutes can stay back. Now in your golf swing, sometimes there seems to be a little bit of the body spinning out, and so what happens is if the body starts to spin out, the arms usually lag behind. And then what happens is, because the arms are lagging behind, when they finally catch up, they don't catch up at the bottom of the arc, they catch up late. And so the weight pulls you up and out of the shot with the right shoulder. And so the best way to keep the body underneath it on the way through is to really get these arms to fire down into the ground. But notice, I'm not turning my body to do this. My shoulders are turned here. By straightening my arms, my shoulders come back to square. But I didn't turn anything. All I did was get left tricep, left lat, right pec, right shoulder, back in front of me. That squared everything up. That returned the golf club to center, okay? So those are a few things to kind of think about in terms of what gets the club down in front of me and what's the reason for it, and how do I get this to work so that I can stay down and through the shot. And that picture of you and Nicholas to where your arms look like this, that's what we were working on, was getting the club head to fire down the target line. But what you were really doing was firing this right elbow, firing this right wrist, and getting it to extend down the target line. So arms, body match through the hit, because that's the final reason we want the arms to fire in front of us at impact, is because we're setting everything up from setup to the top of the backswing, shift my weight, level out, arms fire in front of me. This whole sequence is so that hands, arms, body all rotate together through here. And if I can get the body, hands, arms, and club matching through here, then consistency is going to jump up quite a bit. The only time the arc gets compromised is if the body and the arms are sort of disjointed. So I hope this helps. I wanted to give you some visuals of just the loading and the unloading of the right arm and the right wrist, some visuals of how the arms come in front to keep the glutes back, and then also how the arms shoot down to keep the glutes in the shot a hair longer, because from impact to finish, everything's thrusting up. So I hope this helps. I appreciate it. Thank you.